now. See if that works. What is your YouTube channel called? It's FPL_Liam. It's the exact same name as my TikTok. It's also linked on my TikTok profile. And I'm live on there right now. So if you want me to look at your team, head over to my YouTube channel, subscribe. Then go to my Instagram, take a screenshot of your team, send it to me, DM it to me as like a DM request. And then go to my YouTube stream, type in the chat, I subscribed, and then put your @ on Instagram. I'll go to my Instagram based on whoever subscribed, and I'll try finding your team. So for example, Caden Bar 5 has DM'd me on Instagram and he subscribed. So I'm going to go to his message and I'm going to take a look and try giving him advice. There we go. So Caden has got Lukaku, Kane, Morata, best front three this week in my opinion. Sarabia, Sterling, Perez, Azpilicueta, Spinazzola, Meunier, Unai Simon, Pickford, Shaw, Marler, Damsgaard. Now I'm going to assume that he's on a wild card, which means I'd probably recommend not taking Tielemans. If you can upgrade Tielemans to Chiesa, I would definitely do that. The rest of the team looks good. One way to free up the money to go Tielemans to Chiesa is probably Shaw to Maguire. That might be tempting for me, just to get the better attacking threat, because I don't see Tielemans getting a return. Kane or Sterling? Probably, tough one. Probably Kane, because even though Sterling has been better, right? He's been better than Kane in the tournament. I back Kane once we get the easy games and once we have the important games. After hitting form, I back Kane to get more returns between now and the end of the season. Or the end of the tournament. Varane or Sarabia? Sarabia. Again, even though Sarabia is cheaper than Torres, Sarabia has the better underlying numbers, which is why I backed Sarabia to do better. So Sarabia has 1.09 expected goal involvement per 90, whereas Torres has 0.78. So remember, the pricing is only what they thought in the beginning of the tournament, but they weren't expecting Sarabia to be starting. So considering Sarabia is starting, I back Sarabia over Torres, but if you can afford it or you have a way of doing it, I would go Sarabia and Torres. Lineups out soon. The Spain lineups are out. So Alba is starting, Azpilicueta is starting, Morata is starting, Sarabia is starting, Pau Torres is starting, Ferran Torres is starting. The rest don't really matter to us, do they? I mean, yeah, none of us have them. Captain Sarabia or Morata. I'm probably ignoring my own advice, but Sarabia has the better underlying numbers, so I should say him. But because I think Morata is going to play the full 90 or 85 minutes, something like that, whereas I think Sarabia is only going to play 60 or 70 minutes, I'd probably captain Morata. Liam, is this your highest views you've ever had? No, I had 1.1k for a deadline stream a couple weeks ago, but this is ridiculous. It's a lot of views. Torres or Sterling, I would go... Again, it depends on what matters more to you. If you want someone who's definitely going to be in your team next week, I'd probably back Sterling over him. But just for a 1 week return, Torres is better than Sterling. Okay, let's take a look at another team on Instagram. We have Josh Mansfield 11. I'm going to head over to his account. Josh Mansfield 11. He's got Morata, Dolberg, Sarabia, Torres, Chiesa, Damsgaard, Spinazzola, Laporte, Maguire, Marler, Schmeichel, Pickford, Stones, Sterling, Kane. So what I would do first of all is I'd go Alba over Laporte, because I think Alba is a better option because he's more attacking. After that, let's see, because he has spare money, I would recommend going for Luke Shaw over John Stones because he has more attacking threat. And then, if you can afford it, I would go Dolberg to Lukaku, if you can afford that, or Dolberg to Immobile, just because I'm not sure Dolberg is starting, so I wouldn't want to recommend you to take Dolberg because he might not start. You reckon Grealish will start? Not sure. Who has better numbers, Chiesa or Insigne? Their numbers are very, very similar, so again, everyone on my YouTube stream can see what I'm looking at right now. Chiesa has, I think, 0.48, something like that. Yeah, oh man, I know all these by heart. Chiesa has 0.48 expected goal involvement per 90. Insigne, I think, has 0.54, around that. Insigne has 0.54. Yeah, 0.54. So honestly, that's 0.06 within each other, within the margin of error. But Chiesa has an advantage over Insigne, which is basically Chiesa gets his numbers from coming on as a sub. So I'd say Insigne's numbers are better. So if you can afford Insigne, I'd go for him over Chiesa. Reasoning for Immobile over Lukaku, because I don't have a wild card. If I had a wild card, I'd probably go for Lukaku. Quite simple. Thoughts on Schick? I think I already answered that question. Schick is a good option, but I don't back him to win, which is the issue. He's got similar underlying numbers to Kane, but he's got a much harder game than Kane. So I'd rather go for Kane. Got worse underlying numbers than Morata, so I'd rather have Morata, and Morata has an easier game. Aspi or Alba? Again, the difference is very marginal. I'd only go for Alba over Azpilicueta if you're on a limitless. On a wild card, if you need the money, I'd go for Azpilicueta over him. What to do for De Bruyne? I would hold De Bruyne, because a Sky Sports journalist tweeted, let me show you, I'll put it up again. If you're on my stream, you can see this. Last night tweeted that De Bruyne is starting. Now, would he risk his reputation to say that if it's not true? I don't think so. So I back De Bruyne to start, which is why I'm considering not doing that transfer. I might not bring Shaw in. De Bruyne isn't starting, but I'm kind of convincing myself that De Bruyne will start. Here. So Gianluca Di Marzio said that De Bruyne is starting, and Angelo Mangiante said that De Bruyne is starting as well. He works for Sky Sports. He has 330,000 followers. So honestly, I believe him. Captain Sarabia, Spinazzola, Insigne, Morata or Sarabia? Morata. Morata's probably going to play the full 90, has really good, the most big chances in the tournament, the most shots in the box in the tournament, plays the worst defense remaining in the tournament. He just seems like the obvious captain today. 1 second, let me get some water. Why Sarabia over Torres? Quite simple. Even though Sarabia is cheaper, so it might look to us like he's a worse option, Sarabia has the better underlying numbers, which is why I back him to do better. The only reason I guess I could give to why you should go for Torres is because you might think that Torres will start going forward. Even though they're both starting today, it could be that you think that in the next round, Sarabia will be benched, but Torres won't. But I don't believe that, so I'm just going to go for Sarabia. Ops on Thorgan Hazard, I wouldn't go with the fact that he scored as a reason to take him. He's not got great underlying back. What you want is a midfielder playing up front or a defender playing in midfield, not a midfielder playing further back than his position. I wouldn't go for him. If you want to go for a wing back from Belgium, I'd go for Meunier. That's why he's in my wildcard team, right? De Bruyne, yes or no? On a wildcard, I'm not sure I'd go for De Bruyne. If he's in your team, I would keep him. I wouldn't sell him. Okay, so we have H1.Pierce. Let's see. H1.Pierce. H1. He subscribed. Let's take a look. Send message. Okay. So he's got Lukaku, Kane, Morata, best front three possible. Sarabia, Sterling, Torres, Damsgaard, brilliant. Azpilicueta, Shaw, Marler, Unai Simon, Pickford, Spinazzola, Meunier, Chiesa. Perfect team. I wouldn't change anything. Look, he's got 2 Italians, 2 Belgians, so he's balanced out the risk in that game. He knows he's going to have 2 players from that game in the next round. He's gone 4 English, 5 Spanish. Now, maybe the one thing I tell him is to go for another English instead of one of the Spanish. So maybe go Maguire over Azpilicueta, just because I think England are more likely to win than Spain. So I'd rather go triple England defense maybe and go 5 English players rather than 5 Spanish. That's all I'd say. Sarabia or Ferran Torres? Again, I recommend Sarabia because he has the better underlying numbers, but it's very close between the two. If you can, I would take both. Like, one is as likely as the other to outperform. I just think based on expected goal involvements per 90, I back Sarabia to do better. Liam, who have you captained? I'm going to captain Morata. Is De Bruyne starting? Again, based on what we read last night, it looks like De Bruyne is starting. But again, it's a risk, so it's up to you. De Bruyne plays football today. Yeah, I don't know. Morata or Schick? Morata for sure. What change would you consider instead of Shaw, as I can't afford him? I'd go Maguire instead of Shaw. I think Maguire has an incredible goal-scoring threat. He's going to get a goal at some point in the tournament if we make it to the final. Why no Lukaku? Because I'm not on a wild card. On a wild card, I'd go for Lukaku, but I don't have a wild card, so I'm not going to go for Lukaku. How do I get you to check my team? Go to my YouTube stream, which is FPL_Liam. It's also linked on my TikTok profile. Subscribe to my YouTube, go to my Instagram, DM me a screenshot of your team, and then on the stream on YouTube, say I subscribed and put your @ on Instagram. Why no Chiesa? Because I don't have a wild card. If I had a wild card, I'd go for Chiesa. What world ranking are you? 3.4k. I went down from 1.9k to 3.4 because of the absolute nightmare I had last week. You say that, but you've picked Shaw. Oh yeah. Because I also think Shaw could get an assist. Like, Shaw's underlying numbers are much better than Maguire's. That's why I want Shaw. KDB worth transferring in. I don't want to tell you that De Bruyne is definitely starting. You should transfer him in. Because if he doesn't play, you're going to blame me. So I don't know. Take the risk if you think it's worth it. I'm going to say if De Bruyne does play, he's probably one of the best midfielders of the week. So, again, it's up to you. Should I put Damsgaard and... Should I sub Damsgaard and put in Torres for this week? Yeah, you would want to start Torres, and then if Torres blanks, you can sub Damsgaard on for him, right? Compare the Swiss defense to the Italian defense. The Italian defense have conceded 0.73 expected goal involvements per 90 in the tournament. The Swiss 1.72. So the Swiss defense is about 2.5 times worse. So I would back Morata to do better. Is Ronaldo worth transferring in? Good joke, good joke. Okay, let's take a look at another team from the YouTube subscribers. Let's go Tom Kemp. Tom Kemp. Let's take a look. Why both Spinazzola and Meunier? Because I want to make sure I have 2 players going into the next round from that game. So if one gets knocked out, you take the other one's going to make it through, right? So you're taking no risk, basically. You're guaranteeing 2 players to make it to the next round. So Tom has Lukaku, Kane, Morata, Sarabia, Torres, Chiesa, Damsgaard, Azpilicueta, Spinazzola, Mahler, Unai Simon, Pickford, Stones, Shaw, Sterling. Brilliant team. Wouldn't change anything. It looks very, very good. Who should I put up front for 9.7 mil? Morata. Liam, do I captain Sarabia or Morata? Morata for me because he's going to play the full 90 or close to the full 90, whereas I see Sarabia coming off in the 60th or 70th minute. Will Maguire start? For sure, yeah. Best English defender? Again, safest English defender or the one with the biggest upside? The one with the biggest upside, in my opinion, is Luke Shaw. He's got the best underlying numbers going forward. The one with the least risk is John Stones because Maguire's on a yellow. Shaw has like a tiny chance of not starting, and Stones, you know he's starting. So Stones is the one with the least risk. Shaw is the one with the biggest upside. Are you keeping out Kevin De Bruyne? What was he? Are you keeping Kevin De Bruyne? Yes, I'm keeping Kevin De Bruyne. Immobile over Lukaku. I have wildcard, and I'd probably take Lukaku. Probably. Morata captain? Yes, I would captain Morata. Yeah. Chiesa or Berardi? Chiesa. Chiesa is starting, confirmed, guaranteed. Trust me, Chiesa is starting over Berardi, so I would go for him. Maguire could be rested. They're not going to rest Maguire in the quarterfinal of Euros. No way. This is when you play your best team every week. Is Mertens a good pick? I don't know if he's starting. If you think he's starting, then yes. Pickford over Donnarumma. Again, if I had a wild card, I would take Pickford over him for sure. So don't copy this team on a wild card. No way, don't copy it. On a wild card, I'd go 4 or 5 England, 4 or 5 Spain, 2 Italy, 2 Belgium, 2 Denmark. Simple. Sterling or De Bruyne? Sterling, because Sterling is definitely starting. Why didn't you choose Chiesa over Berardi? Again, because I don't have my wild card. On a wild card, I would have. Chiesa or Torres? Torres has the better numbers and plays a worse team, so I'd probably say Torres. Maguire or Kyle Walker? Maguire. Maguire's more nailed than him and has more attacking threat. Does he? Should I be keeping Jack Grealish in on a wild card or without a wild card? On a wild card, I might consider not keeping him just because I'm not sure he's starting. I think if we play 4-2-3-1, he probably will